peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Most African countries have suffered from one endemic disease: corruption. They took in a medicine that was not properly prescribed by the departing colonial masters. Corruption during the colonial days was punishable, highly punishable. Most civil servants did their work, came on time, delivered without any problem. Today, what we see in the current Africa is corruption has taken over from ignorance, which was one of our main three diseases: poverty, ignorance, and disease. The founding fathers of these nations wanted to remove poverty, wanted to remove disease, wanted to remove ignorance. But later on, they found themselves entangled in the fight against corruption. Corruption became a cancer. It has killed most of the countries. It has created chaos, wars, conflicts, military coups. It has injured, stopped development in most of the African countries. Kenya is one of those countries where corruption has been rampant. Resources meant for the development of areas, building of roads, building of other infrastructure has been diverted into personal coffers, used personally to enrich a few. It is therefore with the support of all other media fraternities that we as journalists support the government, the President of the Republic of Kenya, in the fight, in the direction to eradicate this endemic. It has become endemic in that people even demand that we rather die with our own teeth. It has become endemic that people defended our own thief, our own son. They don't say it's a thief, he says it's ours. When Mr. Waruke was giving out the money, the cash, nobody singled out a hand to say, where did you get the money? Let yesterday's ruling in Kenya become the pivotal point of removing corruption once for all. Corruption is a cancer. Corruption kills. Corruption denies medicines in hospitals, textbooks in schools, payment of teachers, good roads, good infrastructure. Corruption kills. Let's avoid it. Let's support President Uhuru Kenyatta in the fight against corruption. It is a bad habit. We want to thank the judge, Magistrate Juma, Madam Juma. Thank you for the job. Not all the people in the judiciary are bad. They are very good apples that can be eaten. Thank you very much, viewers. God bless you. God bless Africa.
Health governance in our country is a process of shared responsibility between both the national and county governments as per our Constitution 2010. Therefore, in the process, county governments and their readiness to respond to new imported cases of infection will also equally largely determine our national readiness to reopen the country as a whole. And this is because the nation is the sum total of our 47 counties. And if the counties have met the necessary thresholds, then the nation as a whole will be ready to reopen.
Today, thousands and thousands of Africans and many countries in Africa have conflicts, notably from Libya, Cameroon, Nigeria, Biafra, and Boko Haram, to Democratic Republic of Congo, of where we have seen a resurgence of the past military and conflicts coming back in that country. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been displaced, killed, maimed, tortured, raped, several of them dying of hunger, starvation, and other natural causes. The fighting seems not to be ending. For the sake of Libya, the Libyan recognized international government is under siege in Tripoli from another faction recognized by Egypt, France, UAE, and other countries. Whereas the one in Tripoli is recognized by the UN, it has been bombarded, has been strangulated, and many millions of Libyans are dying of hunger, lack of water. The water system has been cut off. The bombardment goes on. In Democratic Republic of Congo, we've seen more of active rebel activities returning to the region after some silence has been observed. When we come to Cameroon, we see millions and millions of Amazonians slaughtered. Yet, when you come to Biafra, again millions and hundreds of millions and millions are worried, displaced, tortured by the Buhari regime. Yet again in the north, we see Boko Haram killing, maiming, abducting, and burning down villages in the same Nigeria. When you cross over to Central African Republic, the same is the history that has littered Africa. While all these events are taking shape, Africa is silent. Africa is not making enough efforts to find a solution to what is causing the problems in Libya, in DRC, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, Biafra, and now you add in Khartoum, Sudan. As people die, the people of Africa have no answers, have no solutions. There is nothing to endear to bring an end to the conflicts that have killed Africa. We seem to be new ones manufactured, old ones reignited encouragement coming from external powers. One power that has been seen in the shadows of all these conflicts, especially the one of Libya that has escalated in the Sahara region of Africa, is France. When you come to Democratic Republic of Congo, the same country is in the shadows. The war can be seen is France. When you come to Cameroon, in Amazonia, the one behind that has the key to bringing peace is France. Therefore, our question as Africans, why are we silent? Why are we not saying enough is enough of the wars? Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Republic of Kenya. Thank you very much, viewers in Africa, wherever you are in the world, in America, whatever which part of the world you are in South of Pacific, in New Zealand, where there is no coronavirus, Australia, Malaysia, good night, good morning, wherever, those waking up, those going to sleep, in China, in Russia, in Europe, wherever you are, this is Punchline Africa Television. This is the show for Africa Showdown. We bring topics across the continent. We begin from the home, Kenya, the headquarters. We look at several things: the politics, the economy, COVID-19. Are we about? President Uhuru Kenyatta was telling other African heads of state that he is about to open. And he will open, remove some of the restrictions. How far can we go? Are we going to have a spike? Shall we? We hope not. Thank you very much, viewers. Elsewhere in the continent, we have quite a lot of exciting news. From Malawi, the opposition leader, Chakwera, wins an election, 58.something9. So resounding victory. Yes. Remember, Chakwera is from most of the people in Africa are mistaken, and the journalists, I see some of them, he talked about a dynasty, but he came from the dynasty of Banda. He's also, and I get this very clear, especially journalists on this television station, all of you take it seriously, that Chakwera is Banda, Kamu's Banda. So his fight all along was retained to bring back a Jogo, the cock, Malawi People's Congress of Kamuzu Banda, which was snatched away by Dr. Muluzi. You know, all these things are here for me. Then Muluzi was snatched off by Mutharika, who was the foreign minister. Matthew Mutharika. They became a president, died of a heart attack. The brother, before that, a woman by name Banda Joyce grabbed it. Again, it went to the dentist. You people talk up. You know there are so many people in Kenya hyper on social media. All dynasties will fall. You don't know who Chakwera is. Chakwera is part of the dynasty. The only problem was the Muluzi and the Muzarika have taken 26 years in power. But Kamuzu Banda, where he originates from, where he took over the party, how many years did he? He became the vice president. So there's no difference. There is nobody who can tell you he will stand on his role in African politics. A lie. Like here in Kenya, we are told, oh, Hasola, oh, this. There is no Hasola. Hasola has also conquered money from these people. They have all been eating together. So don't tell us Hasola. You also got money from where? Hasola, without this dynasty, where would you be? I always hit it as it is to give advice. And I believe my advice at times is taken very serious. I had the deputy president arguing his case about opening schools. Believe me, he was watching this TV. Thank you very much, Dr. William Ruto, for watching our television. It always tells the truth, man. And when it comes to all matters of Africa, Kenya, and the Great Lakes region of East Africa and Africa, ask us. We are the experts. And we also want to thank some people who steal a bit of our content. I don't want to name it. Yesterday, one of the directors accepted that, please don't, it is true. But we need to have cooperation. Yeah, Miriam, I can't believe it. Wanangojea sai, ndio wanagonga, especially diplomatic leaks, Matanga Africa Perspective, dispatches. They are support wanangoja. So this time we shall be doing at the same time with them, so that they don't steal it. We are very happy. If we are educating some people in the world, we are leaving a legacy. Thank you very much. The newspapers in Nairobi talk about BBI. This morning, viewers have written a piece, which I think people should read very carefully. It is some sort of analogy of what it is. And I believe my Shakespearean man will bring it up, Mr. Wesonga, and Miriam will dissect it. What do you do in the circumstances of that nature? That's only the final question. What do? You forgive. It seems people have not known why President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta shook hands with Raila Amolo Odinga. Hallelujah, they don't know. They don't know. Some people don't know. This. No, they don't know. A redemption. Okweyonja. Mumitima. To clean the hearts. People have been dying every 5 years because of an election. Does Africa need elections? We reached the point to say, does Africa need elections? Do we need elections? Why do you harass us every 5 years? Why do you kill people every 5 years? Why do we have graves? Why do we have city mortuary expanding the space? Why are we bewitched? Is it wrong to be an African? Is it wrong to have a black color that every year you are killed Every 5 years you are killed because of an election. The behavior of voters in Malawi, that clip can run when we reach Malawi. But you can give them a sample now. That type of behavior in Africa, do you need elections? When Uhuru Kenyatta crossed over to shake hands with Raila Amolo Odinga, he was shaking hands to save a nation. And he was doing what we call a redemption strategy. Don't tell us lies. Don't mistake redemption strategy. If you don't know it, ask me. It is accountability, truth telling, reconciliation, reparation, restitution. Restitution. It has the letters R. You are restituting. The moment you come to restitution before accountability, you collapse. And let BBI not reach that level. I'm preaching to those who might hear me. Don't jump to restitution. Don't jump to reparation. Political reparation, economic reparation, social reparation. If you jump to that, you lose the meaning of a redemption strategy. Msikilize wa jamaa, wenzi yangu wa Kenya. Ndio hivyo, mmeona mawingu inakuja. Mawingu, some waves imeingia. I am the man of the strategy himself. Redemption strategy, murudishe, niwaambie, I will teach you. Redemption strategy, don't start giving political dividends. No, you will not heal. Well, first to finish the core point. The core point that kills Kenya. Miriam, I'm summarizing your newspapers there. The core point that kills Kenya. What destroys Kenya is simple. Elections. Bad elections. Bad commission. Bad electoral body. Corrupt electoral body. Useless corrupt body. It can even sell the ballot boxes, the metallic ones, and sell them in cash. You need to change that. Tribalism, ethnicity, lead us to a ballot box to elect our henchmen. But after election, there is no national cohesion. That's why President Uhuru Kenyatta wants a national cohesion. A united Kenya. A Kenya united to deliver a better Africa. Less than that, shut up. We don't have. If you don't change elections, the way you run your elections in this country, you will remove me from my retirement to help you. Because I am past the age of retirement, I'm going. I don't want to lie to you that I have too many years here to stick. Miriam has many to stick. And my panel has many to stick. Mine, I have profitable years, about 15 left, where I will be vibrant. But I will spend time defending Africa. And I've spent half of my time defending Africa. I might not have achieved most of the things, but there are things that I've achieved. When you mention my name, it goes to the history of some places, what I did right. Yes. So look at that. Don't run for political reparation or economic reparation. You lose the plan. Let's first have a national reparation. What is the national reparation? Unity. The unity. If BBI can silence every mama that after voting in Kenya, people go to their business without getting worried, without going away from the town to the villages, so be it. That is it. Isn't it what all of us on the panel want? Yes. We don't want, you can get your things wherever you want later. You see, man, no problem. But the President Uhuru Kenyatta wants a legacy to hand over to people who will to hand over a united Kenya. Not a Kenya that it says our man has been targeted. Not a Kenya that said you have touched our man. Not a Kenya that produces man, but a Kenya that produces men and women. Yes. Those watching across the world, this is Punchline Africa. The show is Africa Showdown. My panel this afternoon, I now hand over to Miriam in the studio for interrogation. I surrender my powers of co-host to Miriam. Next with me on the panel is Daniel, our investigative journalist, Daniel Wesonga. Thank you very much. Back to the studio. All of you are in the studios. Thank you. Today I'm very happy. We are waiting for Dr. Jaja. He said he had got a new format of joining us. But let's go. Let's do it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you there so much, Dr. Matsanga, for that introduction. A very good afternoon to you viewers. About, 2:25 here in Nairobi, East African time. This is Africa Showdown, as Dr. Matsanga already has told you there. So on our lineup today, we shall start with Kenya, a story of the week. Of course, if you've been watching anything this week, you know what made headlines, and that is jailed for corruption. Of course, Waluke and also Wahungu, they were jailed over this week, and also corrupt lawyers exposed. And then number 3, still on Kenya, political barometer rising, and also BBI team to release a report, I think, this week. And after that, we shall jump to the rest of other African countries. And is Africa ready for elections, given the violence that follows? And our case studies shall be in Malawi, where the opposition won the elections. And I think as we speak right now, the new President Chakwera has been sworn in. And we shall jump over to Tanzania. Will there be a scientific elections there as Tanzania gears to have its elections on 31st of October, a few months from now? And Nigeria, Buhari party collapsing. I've been following this story, Doctor, and I've been really wanting us to talk about it. The APC party there of President, the ruling party in Nigeria. And also we shall go to Cameroon, very little progress. And then Zimbabwe, EcoCash cancelled, and of course it is owned by none other than Masiiwa. And then we shall end with Uganda towards a scientific election. So we have a lot in store for you, Doctor. But before we do that, I think I'll just run over a few figures in lines with COVID-19 here in the continent. Just look at a few countries, that we shall start with Kenya and see where we stand. And I know these figures might change in a few after the daily briefings by the Ministry of Health. And Kenya right now, the cases stands at 5,811. The death toll in the country is 141. Recovery stands at 1,936. Uganda, 859 cases. Recovery is at 794. Zimbabwe, 567 cases. 6 people have died. 142 others have recovered. And South Sudan, 1,966 cases. 36 people have died, 246 others have recovered, and we move to Rwanda, where the cases stands at 878. 2 people have died, 413 others have recovered. South Africa right now, the figure stands at 131,800, and the death toll is 2,413, and recovery stands at 67,094. Burundi, also the figures have gone up there at 170 with 1 death, and 115 recoveries there have been made. And Nigeria, 24,077, 558 deaths, 8,625 recoveries, and the total figures in the continent as per a few minutes ago was 348,172. And the death toll in the continent is 9,804, and recoveries stands at 166,811. So that is where, Doctor, we stand in regards to the cases in a few African countries today, the statistics there of COVID-19. So now, do we just turn our attention quickly to the front pages, and then we just jump onto the Kenyan stories?
I think let's look at the headlines, sweep through, and then we come on this main story, ask any questions. I think the subject, Miriam, summarizes the newspapers.
Yes, so we read the newspaper, yes.
Yes.
All right.
Interrogate us. We are ready.
Okay. And Daniel, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to say hello to our viewers. Can you just say hello to our viewers before we continue?
Yes, thank you, Miriam. And of course, it's a very good afternoon to our viewers across the country, the continent of Africa, and the entire globe.
All right, thank you so much. That is Daniel Wesonga, our journalist from the other side. So we just start with Kenya, and the first story on Kenya is jailed for corruption, and the judiciary came out to clarify that the jail term for Sirisia Member of Parliament John Waluke is 67 years and not 7 as earlier reported. The anti-corruption magistrate rendered her decision on Thursday night, but it was not clear whether the sentences meted to Waluke and Grace Wahungu, the directors of Erad Supply, would run concurrently or consecutively. So, Doctor, the court came there to clarify that matter. So, Waluke faces 67 years in jail.
Yes. Miriam, again, genius. I told you, I think Wesonga saw me. I was the first man to post as they were sentencing. I said concurrently. So, most of the journalists, please, this sentence runs concurrently. It is 67 years concurrently, but it means they are served in those 7 years. You get the point? If you pay $594 million, whatever the money will be, your sentence is finished. But if you fail to pay one of those items, you break the whole thing. So Waluke will serve this sentence concurrently, night, daytime, but each sentence is serving. If he's serving for fraudulent papers, he will be serving for supplying hot air, like that. But the totals up. Madam was the main. There are more things that Madam did, more than Waluke. She did more than Waluke. So the court, this magistrate should be promoted quickly. And this lady has made history. Actually, she's better than Maraga. Maraga made history by nullifying an election. But this one has given the highest sentence. If Waluke is not yet 67. Now, if you are being sentenced 67 years, when will you finish the sentence? So, Madam Juma, I want to thank her. But There is one thing I want to introduce here, Miriam. Who was the managing director of National Serious Produce Board? Was Mr. Tirop Kosige. Where is he? He should report to the CCI, surrender himself to the EACC. Sio corruption tunasaidia President Uhuru Kenyatta kupigana na corruption. Huyu mjamaa alikuwa managing director of NCPB. You cannot draw a check. You cannot. Don't tell me lies. Don't tell me, even don't whisper it to me, that Juma Jacob could draw a check of 297, knowing the Kenyan patronage. Okweyonja yonja n'abantu. Familiarity. Knowing it, that Juma Jacob could draw a check without some express instructions. Since the president has allowed this case to open up, let's open it up. Shika watu wengine. Huyo Mr. Tirop Kosige must come to jail if he's still alive. Okay, another strand where Kenyan is listening. Can you tell me that the lawyer who was representing did not know the papers were fake, there was no maize? We are looking for morality here. You are a president of LSK. You claim to be the president of lawyers. You didn't know that those papers were fake? You didn't know there was no maize? Surely, at no time didn't your client, there was no time that your client said, this idea. I want to make this point clear to people. If you are an advocate of the court, of the high court anywhere in the Commonwealth, you are an officer of the court. It doesn't matter whether you are in defense or prosecution. You are an officer of the court. You serve the court. You don't serve your client. You serve the court first. Then the client second. You defend your client under the ethics of the court. You must be an advocate of high morals, high standing, high grades, no corruption. Do we have lawyers who are not corrupt in Kenya? I bounce back the question to you.
All right.
You must be an advocate. If you are an advocate of the High Court, you are governed by regulations of the High Court. It doesn't matter whether you are defending a criminal of the highest degree, whichever criminal it is. In the name of God, you are an advocate of the court. You must listen to the guidelines of the court. But go back and present your case to the court. But you don't break the rules of the court. So for Mr. Harvey to tell the court that it is fraudulent ruling, should resign. He's the president of the LSK. He has bought a few younger lawyers in Kenya, in Nairobi, who make noise. But good lawyers in Kenya, the only counsels, not Ahmed Nasir, of course. That one is a mafia already. He's not worth it. Even if I have a problem, I'll never run to him. Because I don't have the amount of money to pay him. It's too expensive. He only runs for men who have money, who have stolen ships on the sea, where everything that I have a golden door, 2 million golden door. Kumbe pesa za wizi. Stolen money. I am happy Miriam, I hand you over. I can see professors come to help me on this. Professor, I am humbly submitting, Miriam, therefore, that Waluke case should not stop there. We should have these guys return the money, because the proceeds, part of the proceeds, that's the proceeds, is fraud. That's how some other countries operate. You're a lawyer, you banked this money, you are paid. Where did the man get the money? We now, if Juma Jacobo was present, we could investigate how he paid the lawyers. But now he's not here. You return this money. Return it to the treasury. Or else we bring him in, because they also did, they knew that this maize was not there. Don't tell me that they did not know. Harvey, can I tell you the statement that Harvey made? Harvey told the court in 2013, and it is here, I quote, that what Mr. Tirop Kosige is saying are lies, fabrication. Because the client, Jacobo Juma, had the maize. Have you seen now? Have you seen now? That's a statement. Check it. Check it. See, I read everything. I don't come on this thing to yappa, yappa, yappa. No. Now, in 2020, this small Congolese guy, oh, sorry, this guy from Kagamega, I'm sorry, I was thinking of Franco. So, this small man arrives on the scene and tells people that the ruling is fraudulent. Yet, in 2013, he said he was defending there was a maize. That's the people you have in Kenya. Over to you, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much. Professor, is it Professor Nyari who has joined? Hello, good afternoon, Professor.
Good afternoon to you, Miriam.
Nice to see you. So we were just looking at the week that was, as we look at the Kenyan stories, and that a very historic ruling that was made there by Chief Magistrate Elizabeth Juma that now handed 67 years of jail time to Sirisia Member of Parliament John Waluke. What is your take on that?
This is a landmark ruling. And this is one of the chief magistrates who are brave enough to enforce the law. One of the things you should know that Kenya, we have got enough laws to fight corruption. Time has come for people to know that if you take money which belongs to the public, you have to return and you have to serve the sentence as a deterrence to the others who may have the same mind of going to poke their hand in the public coffers. Now, as Dr. Masanga said, the magistrate might be human, but she should be echoed and be told thank you for that kind of ruling. If she made a mistake, we have got High Court. There is Court of Appeal. There is the Supreme, because we are a country governed by laws. So if she may make any mistake, as Avi is trying to arrange, it should not be accused that the ruling is fraudulent. We should be able to say this, that others who are stolen or involved themselves in corruption, their punishment on the way coming. I support the ruling, and I say thank you for the magistrate, and the judiciary now has shown Kenyans that it can work. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Daniel. We saw even in that ruling and that money that was stolen, and we saw the beneficiaries who some of them, Kenyans wondered. As a lawyer like Ahmed Nasir, who is said to have received about 40 million of that money, and Kenyans have not, have had a field day with this information. What do you make of these corrupt lawyers who, in this during this ruling, were exposed, basically?
Okay, thank you, Miriam. First of all, let me start by airing that this was a very, very big win for the people of Kenya, and the judgment was equal to the day. It met the expectations of the Kenyan people, as well as the trust that we have in our judiciary. For the very first time, the judiciary has shown that it can really turn the wheel of justice and be able to crush the corrupt individuals who are helping to loot our public coffers. Remember, these guys choreographed this haste at the time when Kenya was facing some serious droughts, and whatever they did was to defraud the state of millions of shillings, and therefore that ruling was quite deserving. And of course, Dr. Mansanga talked about the definition of the jail terms and the fines and everything. And I remember he talked about it being done concurrently and consecutively, meaning that these individuals are being to be charged on every single count as individuals. And also because the company cannot serve a jail term, they are going to serve a jail term also on behalf of the company. Number two, about the lawyers, when you look at Nelson Harvey, he's a man who has been talking from both sides of his mouth. One day he's supporting the prosecution of these individuals, and back in history, we've seen him tweet about how fraudulent this entire thing was. So what has changed? Because I remember it was in 2019, 2018 there, when he said that this was a very serious case.
It was 2017, August 20th, 2017,
yes.
Actually.
Yes, 2017. He tweeted and said that these guys needed to face the law. And now that he has been elected as the president of LSK, we see that he has changed tune. And of course, Miriam, that points to the fact that Nelson Harvey is not there by himself. Perhaps he's a puppet serving people who have bankrolled his campaign to rise to the chairmanship of LSK. And of course, Ahmed Nasir is such an individual who has a lot of interest in LSK, and he's one of the people who are implicated in this kind of scandal. So really, it's very shaming. It is unfortunate that a president of such a society can be able to come in broad daylight and be able to defend corruption. Mm-hmm. We do not expect that from Mr. Harvey. And thirdly, also to mention briefly, is that Harvey has been castigating the president and the executive for flouting court laws and really pressing the judiciary down. Then where does he get the audacity or the stomach to come again on court to call a court ruling fraudulent? Why does he feel that the chief magistrate made an illegitimate ruling? This is because, Miriam, I think Harvey is not true to himself, and he only enjoys when he's holding the handle of the whip. But when the handle changes hands to be on the other side, mm-hmm. he sees some malice and he cries foul. So he's not justified, and we should clean our law society. And Harvey, I think, is not the right person to be in that particular office.
All right, thank you there. Thank you so much. And even as the political temperatures in this country continue to rise, well, somebody else has just joined the race to 2022 for 2022, and that is Makueni Governor Kivutha Kibwana, who officially announced that he will be in the ballot for the presidency in the 2022 elections. Now, Governor Kibwana, who is serving his second term in office, made the announcement in his Twitter account saying the move has been informed of by the voice of the people. Doctor, do you not have any leader right now who is, who listens to the voice of the people? Kibwana says he will be, he's responding to the voice of the people. Yes.
Which voice?
Wanjiku.
Kibwana is a good lecturer. Kibwana is not corrupt. Kibwana is a sincere man, but is not fit to be a president. You want me to say the truth, isn't it?
All right.
Let me drop the bomb, the bombshell. Each of you can have your own. To me, David Matanga, I don't know. Kibwana is a very good lecturer. He can teach you economics. He can teach you constitutional law. You pass highly with very good marks. But he cannot be a president of a country. It is too complicated to be a president. You don't need a bishop. Kibwana is more or less of a church preacher. So, for me, Mudavadi and Kibwana have never impressed me in this country. They rather preach to the people, the citizens. You know, in political science, when you see someone say, the people have said this, you are standing on, you mourn from the periphery. Writing from the fence like a David Matanga is better. I have my blog writing from the fence, talking from the fence. Staki kuingia huko na huko, nasimama hapo. So that you are not called watermelon. Or you are not called an opportunist. Simama kwa fence. Uambie, in Judea, when Paul was preaching, he said, if you refuse, I will carry my dust. But here I've been sent to tell you, follow the guidelines. Kibwana cannot manage presidents. He can manage a small county, Makweni. He's not corrupt. You know, I've been very honest with these editors of mine. Like the editor of Chief Justice. He's not corrupt, but he's incompetent. He doesn't have the tools of analysis. Amagezi amazalivwa agali mumutwe tagalina doesn't have the knowledge. I'm sorry, viewers are also turning African. My language means the knowledge. You know, there are people you can see who are born with knowledge. That he can lead you. Kibwana has that knowledge. He's not corrupt. But he's very soft for president. He could collapse in that state house. Because I don't know how Professor Onyari will put it. But Mimi, Yangu, let him just join a group. Kibwana can be a very good minister of devolution. Yes. He can plan for devolution. He can plan for devolution very well. Lakini kumwambia nchi ya Kenya hii iko kali. Hii kitu kali sana hii. First of all, he doesn't even spend money. How will he campaign? He's very stingy. He can't spend money. He's like a Mudavadi. Mudavadi can never pay a bill.
But people have been electing him despite of that because they believe in his.
Yeah, they have been electing him because they find he's the only one who cannot touch their money.
Yes, so maybe
the rest
that's a good thing, isn't it?
Rest of that's a good argument.
Yes,
the rest of the people in Makweni, in Makweni have been thieves. The other one was touching the thieves. Muizi, including Macau. I don't know. All Macau doesn't come from there. It's Kitui. The rest have been stealing money. So the people of Makweni are left with nothing. They have to bring in a son called Kibwana.
Professor
But when you bring Kibwana on the national line, it's like bringing a Kuro a court. A Kuro a court cannot campaign. You saw the votes that he got. After spending plenty of money of Mr. George Soros, he came out you know the number of votes he got. You don't even, I think in other countries, they make you pay for your deposit. You lose it. But here we are, Africa, anybody can jump and say, I'm going to be. Why didn't Kibwana join hands with his brother in Machakos? Or join hands with Kalonzo? Kalonzo is having a stab at the presidency for the last time. But all of this, jokes aside, it is Dr. William Ruto dividing the vote of Ukambani, like he did with the vote of Mount Kenya. Period. But let me tell you, and a political analyst will tell you, by 2022, some people might not know that Dr. William Ruto was contributing money in the church. Politics is very funny in Kenya.
Yes.
They might not remember. If I'm wrong, Onyali is an elder here also can correct me.
Yes.
People will not know.
Yes.
So these divisions are caused by him. Front Mudhama link up with Kivana, disrupt that Ukambani vote so that whatever Uhuru puts around, it is divided. You see, it is divided because he tried the dynasty, it failed. Because he knows very people when the campaign starts, people will ask him, what about you? You have been here, you have been here. They will tell him on the platform. When the campaign starts, even down to us, when I could tell even skeletons you didn't know. Ndio sisi wengine, we tried this thing. Some of us, one of the mistakes that we had in 2010, I tried 2006. I tried to tell Besigye to leave the seat for Mugisha Mundu. I'm now confessing here on telephone. 2001, sorry. I said, Besigye, please. This guy has been an army commander, he has just left the army. The army likes him. Let's leave the seat. We are all in exile with Besigye. We are talking, Besigye hated me for. You know, for having suggested leave the thing, we are outside. Let Mugisha Mundu go on it. You will see how much support you will get. Besigye turned on me and told me, I, you know, I said, boss, I was in this field. You found me. You found me from 1985. I've been battling this guy. You found me. Your plate was removed. Now you have arrived here. Let me teach you how to go. He said, no. So I told him, that is the end of me. Mm-hmm. From that day, no more. Okay. So candidates, when you are fielding a candidate, why I brought in the Besigye and the Mugisha is a candidate who can win, not a candidate who will collapse every day, every year. Now this year he wants it. Also across, when we reach Uganda, don't hesitate to mention it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Onyari. Dr. Matanga there just said that Professor Kivutha Kibwana, the Makueni governor, is a bit too complicated to be the president. And judging from his track record in Makueni County there, can he use that as a blueprint to propel him to the top leadership of this country?
Thank you. I want to be very honest. I have got tremendous respect for Kivutha Kibwana, Professor Kivutha Kibwana, as a scholar. He has done extremely very well in Makueni. Makueni is a small county. It's not corrupt. for the presidents of this country coming forward and say that the people have told him, who are these people? So it means he's not ready for the presidency. He has no vision for this country. It's only people who have suggested you come and try to do something here now that you have got no work to do in Makueni. I can remember in his first term in office, he was being impeached. He started correcting signatures so that he revenges back. So I don't think whether he can take the heat of the national leadership of a country. And as he has suggested here is, we are trying to organize Kenya, create a legacy, create a united country, where people respect rule of law, where this country we can be able to fix the kind of problem facing the country once and for all. The only thing I can ask him that, and serious Kenyans who want for the unification of this country should be able to join President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Prime Minister Raila Odinga, the Kalonzo, and others who have come on board. So my honest opinion, I'm not biased. For the president of this country, it's a hot seat. He can't make it.
All right, thank you so much. Daniel, as Professor Onyari there has said that Kivutha Kibwana as he has said, that he is responding to the voice of the people. So this might not be necessarily something that he wanted to do. He did not have perhaps an internal push to go for this top leadership there. What do you make of that? Is it a bad thing to respond to the voice of the people?
Of course, Miriam, that is just an excuse, but I'll try to put him into perspective. First of all, being a president of a country is not an overnight thing. It's a no mean feat. And one thing we have to accept that in Kenya, votes are mobilized on a tribal basis. So if you ask Professor Kivutha Kibwana, which voting block is he counting on when we have Alfred Mutua, the governor of Machakos, singing a different tune? We have Charity Ngilu leading her own battalion. We have Kalonzo Musyoka with his own soldiers. So actually, when you look at his vote basket, whatever he's banking on before he can go out to be able to ask support from other counties, it's a very divided basket of votes with everyone commanding his own people. Number two, presidency, I believe for you to be a president, you have to have the right acumen, you have to have a right temperament, you have to have that stature of a president. To me, I think Professor Kivutha Kibwana is not a natural politician, not a politician after his own heart. You cannot compare him to the likes of President Uhuru Kenyatta or maybe the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. He is a leader. He's a very humble person. I can't disagree with that. But when it comes to the politics that we have in this country, then I think dreaming of being a president, it's an overstretched ambition. It's something that is a bit out of reach for him. And of course, he has been a presidential advisor, and that makes him to be a kingmaker in a way. And what you know about kingmakers in politics, they never become kings themselves. Just like when you have a good campaign manager, he can never also be a good campaigner on the ground. So I would maybe advise him to explore other avenues, maybe to serve in the next government, or maybe just retire honorably, rather than trying to flog a dead horse, something that will never materialize at the end of it all. And then the last bit, Miriam, is the financial capability. You know, when you look at Professor Kivutha Kibwana, you can't say that he's a rich man by any stretch of imagination, because we all know he has been in government for some time. He has been a governor for the second term. But when you try to look at his assets and all that, I don't think he's in a position to be able to mobilize enough resources to take him across the country, bring on board that to make up a coalition powerhouse that will be able to enable him to ascend to power. So I think it's a bit premature. It is an overstretched ambition, and what he needs to do is to try and look for someone he can be able to work with in order to ride under their shadows and be able to keep political relevance, if that is at all, if that is what he's looking for.
All right, thank you there. So basically what you're saying in a nutshell, all of you have written of Kibuda Kibwana's candidacy for 2022. You don't have, that is a complete vote of no confidence on him, Doctor.
I just want to request that there's so many people on this other line are requesting for the link. The link has not been sent out.
All right.
So that is all. But for me, in the summary, medium, we have done very well on that topic of Waruke. I think with time, given the time you are watching over the top of the hour, Kibwana cannot manage Kenya. It's impossible. Unless Gabriel Angel arrives near Mboweni. You know Mboweni?
Is it Mboweni?
Where Mutula Kilonzo comes from. Mboweni. A beautiful town. By the way, Makueni is a beautiful town. Down there, the hills. When you drive towards Mombasa, you think you are going, there's arid land. But inside there, Mboweni, it's very beautiful. I went there during the burial of the late friend of mine, Mutula Kilonzo, the father of the current senator. My good guy, I like the way he speaks. This other younger man. Those are the people who can manage the presidents.
Well, the dad did a very good job.
Kilonzo can. In fact, Kibwana should have supported Mutula Kilonzo as a younger generation. Lakini Kibwana mwenyewe, he can teach constitutionalism. Yeah. Very good lawyer. We were together, the first group of ICC guys who went there on the same day when on President Uhuru Kenyatta's case.
All right.
And when I gave him my document to read, he panicked. In the ICC, he said, "Won't they see us?" Hey! Then I said, "So they are seeing us on camera. Is it a crime to read a document?"
All right.
So ndio huyo mtu mnataka kuleta wapi? Are you not candidates?
So over the past week, also in the political barometer rising, before we get quickly to the BBI team, report being released, we saw the former Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri launching a new party called the Service Party of Kenya, and also on Friday, the Amani National Congress Governing Council approved the expulsion of Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala from the party after he failed to respond to the charges leveled against him by the party's disciplinary committee. I don't know about the timing of this, because this came hot in the heels after Malala, is the one who oversaw the impeachment hearing that was not very successful, that exonerated Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru. So I don't know the timing of this thing by Amani National Congress, the timing there of removing Senator Cleophas Malala.
You know what?
Yes.
These guys, let me tell you the secret. These guys are looking for money. And, George Soros is a very crazy guy. In the media, I am itching to reach the second topic. It's very good.
Yes.
Look, George Soros is a very crazy guy. You remember Mudavadi went to United States for 1 month, saying he's listening to lectures, this, that, with Muruka. Do you know that Muruka is a man old my age? I beat him by a few years too, but he has never worked anywhere. He looks for employment. So, employment and things for free. I don't know Kiswahili mnasema bwerere. Wherever is also a Swahili word, still.
Yes.
So Muluka can never give you advice. There are 3 people in Luya land. You should not have them on your team. You will not even, if you are going for a bank loan in the morning at the manager, bad luck. Halwali. If you include Halwali in your team, you will never win an election. Muluka, you will never win an election. Mudavadi will never win an election. So I've summarized that. Malala is a new boy on the a boy on the block.
New kid on the block, yes.
Now you can see even his English is well polished. Analysis, well polished.
Yes, and Dr. Matsanga also, he's a very brilliant script writer. You remember some time back, Miriam, there was a script he did. Yes.
Yes, I have summarized it for you. I know everything. The Shackles, that is by Butere Gauss.
Shackles of Doom, yes.
No, you know, we need such people with caliber and something. You know, even Malala's head shows there is brain.
Professor, the removing of
the morphology.
Yes. The timing, what do you make of the timing of expulsion for Cleophas Malala from Amani Congress Party?
It was untimely, it was improper, it is immoral, it is uncourtly, it is uncalled for.
Everything that is wrong.
Having successfully handled the impeachment of the governor for Kirinyaga,
yes.
He was a chairman of the chairman I've seen of the time. He was not pious. They were trying to lower his stature, but God forbid, he's a young man and the sky is the limit.
So,
who are these people purporting to expel someone when you know a man Congress party is punctured already? They are in office illegally. They should be preparing for an election for the party and see whether Senator Clovis Marara will be voted in or not. So it was uncalled for, and what we need to do, you don't put down young leaders, the youthful leaders. These are the kind of people we should be preparing and support to take Kenya into another level. For Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, the way Dr. Masanga has put it, it's unfortunate you cannot, in terms of politics, you can't see him from the front and the behind and the side. You cannot be able to, you don't know what it stands for. As I've said, and I'm repeating again, Kenya is being reorganized. You don't run away from the center and God said so. So it was untimely, it was uncalled for, it's immoral, and these are people who are lacking these directions and don't know where Kenya is headed to.
Right.
Yes, and maybe if I could just chip in, I'll just try to put it into perspective. When you look at the geopolitics of Kakamega County, Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has been governor for 2 terms, and he has always won decisively on terms of votes on an ODM ticket, which is now working with the executive, President Uhuru Kenyatta, through the handshake. So that tells you that that particular party has a lot of support base in Kakamega County. Cleophas Malala was elected the senator of Kakamega County in 2017. That is after serving as an MCA for a single term. And he's my friend, and I think he's a very, very brilliant gentleman and someone who is self-made. And of course, Musalia Mudavadi can't claim to have been the reason why he's in parliament today. So one thing is that this is a region where Mudavadi cannot count on the support because ODM has been having a governor for 2 terms from the same county. So which means that even if today Cleophas Malala decided that he's moving from ANC to this other party, ODM, then it means that he's only going to be more stronger than he was under ANC. And then a second thing is that when you look at ANC, it only has one nominated senator, Senator Petronila Locorio, who is in Senate because of Malala. So if they can, if ANC can make good their threat and expunge Malala out of the party and therefore making him lose his seat, then they are risking the position that is being held by Senator Petronila Locorio. So it's a double-edged sword for ANC, and I don't think they'll be able to gather enough courage to expunge Malala from the party, because that is what is holding them. They cannot do that. If they do that, then it means it's going to be a loss on both sides. And of course, when you look at it, whichever way you chop it, Miriam, if an election was to happen, if a by-election was to happen in Kakamega today, then Cleophas Malala will be the ultimate winner in that, because look at Halwale, whoever they are banking on. It's only Halwale who can be the nemesis in Kakamega County. And as now, I can tell you without any fear, maybe fear of contradiction, that that one ANC is fighting a losing battle.
All right, Daniel Lusonga, they are putting a very brave fight for his friend Cleophas Malala. I just learned that right now. Even Steve is smiling there. But you know, yes.
I like Cleophas. Cleophas.
Doctor, let's say together, Cleophas. Stop.
Malala. I am not an Englishman, and I hate English names. If you called me Comrade Matsaka,
you cannot hate English and you're a Shakespeare. What do you call it? Shakespeare. Yeah, you love to quote that. So you can sit there and tell us.
The more I studied it, the more I hated it. You know, it gives you some sense of forgetting your accent. That's why I've refused with my accent.
All right, you stay with your
my
accent.
children can speak the best accent, but not me.
Right. Yes, you have to be in touch with the roots, the roots and culture.
For me,
yes.
I also want to declare my interest here that I have passed the stage of competing as an MP, because 2 of my sons are going to contest the 2021 parliamentary seat. I'm trying to choose.
Hold on.
Which one?
The Ugandan election.
Yes,
that one that you do not have confidence in.
No, they have decided.
Or the presidency part is the problem, but the rest works out just fine.
I have passed that stage.
Yes.
I can be a consultant and even, lecture a few things on political science for President Museveni, you know. But for now, I can't go back to stand for an MP. It's too much below me.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I have children who are above 35, men, then women who are about 40. They want to go for the seat. You can't pass in that seat without Matanga's endorsement. If I say nah, you get out. So that one, I am not creating anything. I have given them the freedom to choose between them who wants to go.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Doctor.
So
yes.
At least that is substance. Someone has got a master's degree with a good English and organized background. I'm gonna, pour in resources. He can go to parliament. That's my legacy.
Very well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't stick on power. Don't stick on power. Give it out. Let these guys go. Who should be fighting? I've been fighting for 42 years. Why should I continue to be in the forest?
Okay, Doctor.
When others are eating sausage. Time comes. He's a conflict resolution manager.
Let's
Can I continue eating branches in the forest?
let them go fight. We will continue eating the sausages on this side. Doctor, John Clark is saying, I support you, Doctor. I don't think Kibwana is suitable for presidency. Dennis Ekachoy, you're saying, seems Ruto and Raila are the only candidates for presidency. And you're also saying that I talk about Kalonzo and Gideon Moi. And John Clark, you're also saying Malala is a waste of space. Kiptanui, you're saying Malala is the best. And Bernadette Shinya Simbanegavi, you're saying we will not allow a Malawian president again, and we shall get to Malawi. Let's just look at the last item in Kenya quickly, and then we jump to our next country. The BBI team is set to release the report, and President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga have already been briefed, and their teams are preparing for the official handover this coming week. And the much anticipated BBI report might expand the executive and create a Prime Minister's office with executive powers. Now, the report recommends a radical departure from the initial report launched in November 27, 2019. The Bomas draft had proposed the office of the president, who is the head of state, commander-in-chief and chairperson of the National Security Council. So in a nutshell, Doctor, what do you expect to be handed over to the president and Right Honorable Raila Odinga? And the reason why this will be handed to them, our viewers, for those who don't understand, because they were the founders of the BBI, of the handshake that gave birth to the process of getting opinion from Kenya that formed the BBI report that will be handed over. The first one was handed over, the draft, on the 27th on 2019, and then it was established that a lot of things were not really captured in this report, and so they had to be sent back and get more views from Kenyans, and now this report will be handed over this coming week, Doctor, there. So apparently a few things seems will be changing from the initial report that was launched in November last year, Doctor. What is your expectation? And then after, Doctor, the rest of you can just pick on the same question.
That's why we went back there. That's why the president said extension of time. In a nutshell, I won't waste much time on this. I've already said it, and I've put it before you. I've said, what is the aim and what was the aim? I am happy that there is another conflict resolution expert on the panel. The aim of handshake, BBI, is to unite the country. If anything diverts, and I'm not saying diverging, diverts its energy from a redemption strategy and lands itself into reparational status before accountability, before truth-telling, before reconciliation. Unaona hiyo? Before restituting the good of unity. It is like the peace process of South Sudan. It will collapse. Maybe let me go slow again, very quickly. The aim of the handshake was reconciliation, unity, accountability, truth-telling, accountable, to create an environment that finally brings you to unity. But if we start reparations, political or social or economic reparations, and believe me, I don't know, you are here on the panel. If you start political reparations, you lose what we call a redemption strategy. What is a redemption strategy? A redemption strategy is to clean what was the problem, to bring a new shape, a new existence. We are looking for what Kenya can do so that people don't fight in elections, people don't kill each other. A united Kenya, those who are undermining BBI want to create, what can we do? Why is it this? Because they are worried of unity. They have been using politics of tribes. They have been using hostage-taking politics of the Rift Valley. That if you don't vote me, I'm going to tell my people to beat you up. That is the politics Uhuru Kenyatta is saying. Forget it. We want a Kenya. We want Raila Odinga to go to the Rift Valley. We want Ruto to go to Kisumu to get the vote. Let the people in Kisumu, in Nyanza, in Luo Nyanza, in Migori, everybody, let them vote the way they want. Unity. You get your candidate. Whoever you come from, we want somebody. We want Peter Kenneth. We want anyone to go anywhere. We want Musalia. However bishop he is, let him say and go and preach his gospel. Get his vote. That is the aim of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the unity for purpose. A legacy. Less than that, anybody who has started this subject better than me, bring it on the table. And then we write an exam. The professor is here.
Professor.
Tell me what we want to achieve.
Yes,
do we want to fight before we slaughter the lamb? Where is the sheep we are about to slaughter? Then we start cutting the leg. Tunaua mbuzi, the leg, the blood goes out, which would have made the meat sweeter. Just be careful.
All right, so let's be careful, Professor. What is your expectation, even as the BBI report will be handed over to President Uhuru Kenyatta and Honorable Raila Odinga this coming week?
Miriam,
yes,
time has come for this country to sort our problems once and for all. And the BBI seem to have sorted this. You knew how we came out of 2017 disputed elections nullified by the Supreme Court. People started resisting. Thank God that the president and the prime minister were able to shake hands and came with 9-point agenda, which has put the country together since then up to now. I have liked the process because it has followed the tenets of our constitution, that the people have participated, people have been informed, people have been consulted, people have been involved. We have reached a consensus that we need to change some sections of our constitution which are not working. So Kenyans have been involved. And what we want to do is to have a united country. And let me tell you for one, why do people fight? People fight because of resources. People fight because of positions. And the PPI is trying to extend the table. And it doesn't matter which side of the table you sit, so long as you are on the dining table, even if food is served, even if those who have served themselves, they can be able to give you something to eat. So what I want to say, I expect good of it. This is not the end of it. The counter assembly will be and parliament will be involved. It will come to the referendum. And what we need to do here is let us take this country forward. And I have no doubt in my mind that the President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Prime Minister are focused towards this. They have been pushed all along up to the corner, but they have remained very faithful. So I expect the PPI report to be handed over to the President and to be handed over to the people of Kenya, so that we decide once and for all which direction do we want to take this country. Right. This country is an icon in the region, and we need to move forward. And the way to move forward, if we miss this opportunity, whereby the Prime Minister and the President are in talking terms. Remember, we need not hide the facts. President Uhuru Kenyatta, his father was the founding president of this country. The Prime Minister Raila Odinga, his father was the first vice president of this country. They differed so they stand a better chance to unite this country. And never again should Kenyans kill each other on account of an election.
All right, thank you. Doctor, you were saying something before Daniel comes in.
There is one thing that this new BBI, the one that is coming, which I saw, which I want to highlight to, and I say thank you. The question of a shilling for a shilling.
Okay.
Hey, umundu umundu. We have something called umundu umundu. You can't be having 300,000 people. Then you have all this money. You know, you can see the evolution. We can only stabilize. You can add where you feel there is a hole. But look at the population. Kisumu city has more people than some of the counties. Do you know that? Some of the counties, some of the cities in this country
yes.
have more counties than
more people than some of the counties. Yes.
Than counties.
Yes.
Why corruption has thrived in devolution? And I know people, my professor, and will fear, is not fear, he will say it. There is free money. You send the free money to Masabit. You send the free money to Moyale. You send the free money to Mandela. You send the free money to some of these places where the population is 300, 400. You get a point. They yet look at Nairobi. I want to give a credit to the Nairobi new management. Wanagonga barabara usiku na mchana.
Absolutely. The CBD is very beautiful now.
Utaki kusikia mtu kodi Sonko usiingie hapo.
He is the governor for Nairobi, though.
I passed there last night.
It's beautiful, beautiful.
At night, the guys were working. And that's what they have done. They have got the younger street boys who are getting some money and they carry stones. This is very good. You are at the same time stopping giving food to them. The work is going on.
And I like that the person, the general there who is
Yes,
heading now,
because
he's very
there is an army
quiet.
man.
He's doing it very
There's
quietly.
an
I
army
prefer
man
that.
There's an army man like me. You don't bring nyoko karibu na mimi.
He's very quiet and he's just moving in stripes, and we can
do
see.
your things today.
Yes,
I don't take prisoners. You're trying to bring your problem of civilian to me. I am not part of you, of civilian operations. I am a man who sticks by the truth. So this general is doing a good job in Nairobi. Roads are being built at night. Where were these graders? Sonka alikuwa anatuambia sisi there were no graders.
Doctor, the
Now where are
the
the
potholes
graders?
that were all over the CBD is no longer
They are
there.
finished.
Yeah, the walkways are being built. It is beautiful. I really commend them. They're doing a great
It's
job.
a shilling for a shilling for a human being, so that the people of Kirinyaga can ask their governor, kila mtu aulize shilingi yangu
Iko wapi?
iko wapi?
They tried to do that, but they did not have enough evidence.
Uliza shilingi yako.
Yes.
This BBI is bringing that. Just ask the governor of Paranya, where's my shilling? We are how many people? 4 million people in Kakamega. We are given 40 billion. Where's my share? I'm still sleeping in a shack. It takes me 4 hours to reach my house. Where is my money? You would have killed corruption. You are empowering people civically. Civic education. They are being empowered and they are being given morale democratically to ask these governors who got pesa.
All right, Doctor.
So I agree. I thank that one. Let's get to the other topic.
Before Wasong has not responded. Wasong,
Yes,
what is your expectation?
Miriam,
Quickly, and then we move to the next country, that is Malawi.
yes, of course, the elders there, Dr. Matsanga and Professor Jared Onyari, have exhaustively dealt with the topic and substantiated everything in regards to BBI. My part will be very brief. And of course, Miriam, this is a very reckoning time for our country. And of course, that baby that was conceived on March 9th of March 2018, when President Uhuru Kenyatta and the former Premier Raila Odinga shook hands before the office of the president, is now expected to be born and be given to the people of Kenya. Indeed, it is a very, very good moment for us as a country, because this is the time we expect to see a very progressive country, a united country, a country that is not derailed in terms of ambition for future endeavors. And of course, our viewers can always be checking out about the BPI and all other related topics on the legacy trend. Of course, it's a page that has been talking more about this unity, the redemption strategy, and all that. So it will be a very, very good moment, and we support it, the BPI, and we hope once it is handed over to the relevant authorities, it will be able to be implemented so that Kenyans do away with this perennial problem of post-election violence.
All right, thank you. And that was just the part, the Kenyan part. So I'll not even get back to it. I think we have covered that very well. So now let's just look at other topics we have today, and outside of Kenya, and we start with Malawi. Opposition has won the election. This is after the Malawian Electoral Commission there announced that opposition leader Lazarus Chakwera has won the country's rerun, a presidential vote. He defeated incumbent Peter Mutharika with 58.57% of the vote in Tuesday's poll. The Electoral Commission announced yesterday, 9 February, Malawi's Constitutional Court annulled Mr. Mutharika's victory in the May 2019 election, citing vote tampering. The country was bitterly divided in the run-up to last week's election. And this is a story that me and Dr. Matsanga, we've been covering since last year, since the first election that happened last year in May, the 21st of May last year, which was annulled this year in February. And we've been following the events and how these elections have turned out there in Malawi. And now we see we have a new leader. Before I get to Dr. Matsanga, I want to start with Professor Onyari. What is your take on these elections that happened, the rerun in Malawi?
Africa is becoming of age that we can carry credible elections. The incumbent can lose an election and accepts this is the way forward. What I need to say that President Mutharika did not prepare himself well. The country of Malawi was a food basket. The agriculture was doing very well. There's so much corruption there. The people were disunited. And when the opposition got an opportunity of coming together, they said enough is enough, and we need to take the country forward. Mm-hmm. They have spoken, and it should be a running case study for other countries in Africa. Instead of doing anything else, you can unite. And that is the replica of what's happening in Kenya, that if people unite, they can take their country forward. It is a big lesson to Africa and the world at large. And those who can be able to take people for a ride, well, you can cheat people or all the people, but not all the time you can be able to manipulate people. Mm-hmm. So I say Ongera and kudos to the people of Malawi. Long live Malawi, long live Africa.
Dr. Matsanga, lessons we can learn from the just concluded Malawi elections that saw incumbent President Peter Mutharika lose there. And as we speak right now, the new President Chakwera has been sworn in very quickly. They did not even wait to have a function at the Nyayo National Stadium there. So, Doctor.
First, a welcome. I welcome Chakwera. Mm. I saw him 4 years ago. in Johannesburg, in Sheraton Hotel. I was introduced to him by a business friend of mine from Zimbabwe. Actually, 5 years, 2015. He's a businessman. He also runs companies. He's a Christian, down to earth, devoted. He comes from the Kamuzi Banda era. So tell Kenyans, let them hear now, who are saying dynasties must fall. He is from the dynasty. Malawi People's Congress, which is the party associated with Kamuzi Banda, the Songa, you know that. The cock, it has links with the founding fathers of this nation, Kenya. It has links with Nyerere. It has links with Kaunda. It has links with Obote, Uganda People's Congress. That's how I know. Forget these things. Dynasty has fallen. What dynasty? Muluzi did not come from a dynasty. Muluzi is the one who overthrew Banda.
His son was the running mate for Peter Mutharika, Muluzi's son.
A son. So it is from Banda back to Banda. So Kenyans should understand that it is from legacy to legacy. It's Malawi People's Congress is retaking power like a Kanu would retake. What? You want me to say the truth here? Like Kanu will retake power. Kanu will retake power in Kenya. Yes. Why are people not shy? Mzungumize haki. Unaona hiyo koko, the koko. Hiyo koko ile iko kwa flag. Show the flag of Malawi People's Congress. Show it. It has never changed for years. So younger men on Twitter, those yapping, whoa, dynasty. Shut up! Chikwera represents the Banda. You see Mama Joyce Banda, you see that name comes from where? She's part of the opposition. The old group that saw the good things of Hastings Kamuzu Banda. People don't even know his other name. They just call you Banda, Matanga, as if we grace cows together. He was called Doctor. Miriam, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he was called Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda. The guy whose suits were ironed from somewhere. The Jonjo man of Malawi.
Yes.
So, the background, you can see the type of English that the new president of Malawi speaks is equivalent to Uhuru Kenyatta's English. He is schooled. He's schooled. He talks like a Martin Luther King, like a Wesonga and other people. You know, schooled with material. That's the Africa coming. But, and hallelujah, I want people also to judge me for never having left any stone unturned. Watch out for George Soros. He has come, he has seen, he has conquered. The first country, Miriam, when 2 years ago, when you had just joined the partnership, great partnership and a fraternity of this great pipeline, you heard me say there will be 13 countries in sub-Saharan Africa that will collapse. Count for me now.
But Malawi hasn't collapsed. It has salvaged
No.
itself very well.
That will have changes. That's what I said. There will be change, regime change. Regime change could be bad or good. Count. If we are not on country number 12 now, and if we are not on country number 12 or 11, we are on 11. And I said before 2021, there will be several countries will fall. Several countries will change. I predicted that. Any student of sub-Saharan political science will tell you, any student of political science will tell you that that is the way things are going. Believe me or not. Believe me or not, my sister and the brothers, there are 3 countries left. And the wind of hope is sweeping towards the southern border of Malawi. That is Zambia. Zambia has an election next year. Zimbabwe is difficult. That's all we needed to know facts here. Zimbabwe is very difficult to overturn because there is an element of the military that you don't play about with them having gone to the revolution. You don't just come and play about. The American ambassador there, the CIA, has done quite a lot of things, uncoordinated things, to destroy the military element, which he has defeated them. But Zambia South, hallelujah. In East Africa, there are 2. Mark the date today, we song. And Onyari, there are 2. The trigger mechanism of George Soros' money is going to be seen in 2 countries. Kenya, you are very lucky. Kenya, you are very lucky, 100%. Say hallelujah to this mouth. Give it. Give me. You know in the kiss they say hallelujah. Yes, yes. I've been shouting George Soros. I'm scared that old guy here. Because everything they try, I have seen. But in Tanzania and Uganda, me, I don't hide. There's a problem. And both of the countries want elections. Miriam, we are going to talk about it.
Yes, before that, I want to get Daniel's opinion on Malawi. Yes, yes.
The trigger mechanism, mutaona, yoyo. You got trigger mechanism. Why is opposition? Let me not spoil it. Let's cut there.
Let's get Daniel's Malawi's opinion, and then we can come to Tanzania and Uganda and their scientific election, which I don't even understand how they plan to do it. But Daniel, yes.
Yes, thank you, Miriam. And I think this is a hugely significant moment for the people of Malawi and in their books of history. And of course, it marks an end to the long-standing turmoil and unrest that has been there since the annulling of the first presidential election. And what we hope for is that now President Chakwera is going to take the mantle and be able to take forward the people of Malawi quite progressively and be able to achieve whatever maybe President Mutharika couldn't achieve. And of course, you've seen it from the media houses in Malawi. President Mutharika said that although he finds the results to be quite fraudulent, but it is time to take the country forward, to unite and be able to take the country forward. And of course, that it means that he's ready to support the new president and take the people of Malawi in a very, very progressive agenda. Of course, the tide of change has moved against him, and I think that is on his part. That is very mature. These are very rare occurrences where there has been a very peaceful transition of power, and also considering that an incumbent president has lost on the ballot. So I think it's something new in Africa, and more African leaders and countries should emulate whatever happened in Malawi, and I'm very happy for the people of Malawi. And also other institutions, including the judiciary and also the people, because whatever happened in Malawi is a manifest that the courts and the electorate were not prepared to be bullied or maybe cajoled or influenced or intimidated by the presidential power. And that's why they were able to rise up and be able to show Mutharika the door and decide their own future, electing Chakwera. So that is something positive for the continent of Africa, and I think more countries are going to learn from it.
All right, thank you there. So now let's just look at Tanzania, which is gearing to have its elections on the 31st of October, just a few months from now. And of course, Uganda also is looking forward to have its scientific elections. And Doctor, I have been trying to understand this because the Electoral Commission last week told the nation, that is of Uganda, to prepare for an unusual election where campaigning will be done digitally as the destabilizing effects of the coronavirus continues. Now, the Commission says it is bound by Article 61, Article 2 of the Uganda's constitution, which tasks it to organize elections within 120 days before the expiry of the term of president, a parliament, or a local government. And in conducting a scientific election, the Commission hopes to exercise its duty to facilitate Ugandans' a right to choose their leaders in a healthy and safe environment. Of course, President Museveni has welcomed that move, and he's came out and said, that voting will be conducted normally. And he told the nation on Monday that the government can effectively ensure social distancing and other precautionary measures at polling stations. So, Doctor, I have been really trying to understand these scientific elections that will be used in Uganda and also in Tanzania. How will that work?
You know what? President Museveni has been caught between a soft place, a hard place, and a rock. To be very frank, he's jumping in the three. And Doctor, we missed you, Prof, on Malawi, but you can bring your...
Yeah, I'm told he's about to leave, so perhaps he could just give his opinion before he leaves. Yes.
I think that the doctor have a go at it first.
Yes,
but I wanted him to listen to his position on Uganda because the professor is always teaching the students very early in the morning.
Professor, go ahead.
And President Museveni is caught between a soft place, a hard place, and a rock. If he doesn't hold these elections by February, his term ends. And therefore, once the term ends, the Speaker of the National Assembly in our country takes over automatically, because both the Vice President and the President, their term will be over
at the same time.
So that is where the rock, the hard place is. The rock is, if he doesn't hold it, the population will say he has an alternative to declare martial law. Finished.
All right.
State of emergency.
Yes. And Dr.
Everything.
Yes, Professor, I would like to hold that thought, and we shall pick on you from there, because I'm meant to understand Professor is about to leave to go attend to other other things. So I'd like to get his opinion, and then he can say his bias. Professor, if you can hear me, Uganda is looking to have a scientific election, as well as Tanzania is looking forward to have its elections in October. Is something that is viable, or will this set the country, to chaos that we've not seen before there in Uganda?
Very honest, very few countries, if none, in Africa are ready for scientific elections. So in this time of COVID-19, I hope the opposition leaders and those who are in government should be able to have a conversation, even if to have a caretaker government for 2 years, if a total democracy has to work. You know what happened in Kenya in 2017? You had cases of computer-generated leaders, elected members of parliament, governors, even up to presidents. You have seen what happened to America, that we have had people hacking the system. So my take here is Uganda is not prepared for that, neither to Tanzania. But I've liked the way he has said that if by February they have not been able to organize for a credible election, the constitution gives a mechanism that the speaker has to take over. But the African have this mentality, this I, and this I, if it is not I, the country is not safe. So what I can have to say that we are not ready for this scientific election. Even to do with the connectivity, you even have in this kind of COVID-19, people are not able to even to communicate through virtual communication. So we are not ready for this.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Unyari, there for your time. I meant to understand that you have to go take your father.
Before you leave.
Yes, thank you so much.
Before you leave, Britain is 1,800 years old in democracy. Boss, it doesn't practice any scientific election. So you, a third world country, with a telephone where we have to run on a hill, Mount Elgon, in order, hello. How will you vote? Now, that is why I told you, it's a soft place, a hard place, and a rock. Why is opposition saying, why is that younger guy saying, hold the election? It explains to you. Before you leave Tanzania, there is a problem. I've liked Magufuli. For him, the thing needs someone who has a brain. Nyenye kila siku mnachekelea Magufuli hapa. Lakini Magufuli anaonekana ako na very good brain. For him, he has allowed the thing to go that way. So that you don't have a reason to say there was a corona. Have you seen the point? You don't have a reason to say there was a corona, I didn't report. Because Magufuli knows technically, if by October 10th or 12th, there is no candidate, no announcement of a president, he has lost his second term. So he can't risk. So what he did, originally a strategy, he allowed this thing that of World Health Organization, hakuna, lakini wa jamaa, wacha niwaambie, it looks like someone came from Dar es Salaam. He says the things are not are clear. I'm telling you, a friend of mine is in Dar es Salaam. He came from Zimbabwe. Their plane is even flying into that place. He's in Hyatt Hotel now. He called me and said, Matanga, hakuna hii mambo hapa. Watu there are those who are wearing masks. There are those who don't wear masks. Lakini watu wanaendelea. The truth is, hospitali nasikia hakuna hata watu wagonjwa wale. So I don't know, maybe God came and cut the airspace and cut it, I don't know. But the rest will be seen. Prof, I'm going to talk to you shortly, not on air. Thank you very much for turning. There are some things administratively that I would like to do with you.
Very well. It was nice being in the discussion. I'm having a class starting 4 with my students, but it's great that we are taking Africa forward. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Dr. Masanga. Thank you, Wesonga. Africa is being proud of us because we are speaking the mind. And if we don't speak it, who would ever do it?
Right.
Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you shortly.
And good luck with your class. Yes.
Privately.
All right, Doctor. Thank you, Professor. So now, of course, in Uganda, the aspirants at all levels will only be able to conduct campaigns electronically via television, radio, and social media, since open-air public rallies have been banned, and voting itself is to be conducted normally. That is what President Yoweri Museveni has said, because he said that Uganda, the government is able to effectively ensure social distancing and other precautionary measures at polling stations. And of course, President Museveni has welcomed this move, but we've seen opposition leaders there. We've seen Bobi Wine, we've seen Besigye coming out and saying, no, this is not in line with the electoral requirement in this country, the electoral process in this country. And now the opposition politicians accuse the Electoral Commission of not consulting them as it drafted the revised election roadmap according to the popular legislator and presidential hopeful Bobi Wine. The scientific election cannot deliver a free and fair election. Daniel.
Yes, Miriam, and of course, Dr. Matsanga has talked about that, but I'll just try to put in some of my views there. And of course, when you talk about scientific elections, this is something based on trial and error. And of course, we are not somewhere else. We are in Africa here, where we do have deficiency in technology. We do have deficiency in terms of capacity, even in doing conducting such an election. So what does that tell you? It only tells you that in this kind of process, then you have to take out credibility in the equation of it all, because this is an election where the government that is in power, that controls major information technology infrastructures and all that, is going to take a very big advantage of it. So according to me, it's an election that should not be allowed to progress at this time when most countries are really struggling with the coronavirus pandemic scourge. And as Professor Gerald Onyari said, if it is possible, then let those governments come up with a caretaker government that will be able to carry the country forward through this time period, even if it's 1 year, 2 years. And then once we are done with the COVID-19, then we can be able to plan and carry out a free, fair, and credible elections. But as it is right now, I think the ground is very much skewed. We are venturing into a very unknown waters, and maybe you may never know the consequences or the outcome of such a failed process, if it may be.
All right, thank you so much. And I would understand why the opposition is quite apprehensive over this. First of all, scientific electoral process, I mean, that is just a bogus to start with. Like, it's not even going to be possible. And yes, the claims by opposition of lack of, fairness is also very valid, because, as we know, the media in Uganda is highly controlled by the government. If you go, we've seen the way they've been dealt with when they go covering events of the opposition, like a few times the media has gotten itself in trouble when it went to cover some events involving Bobi Wine or Besigye or other opposition figures there in Uganda. So, of course, the government will use this to control and to ensure that it is the one that is able to participate effectively in campaigning, because now campaigns will only be through radio and television and social media. And so that will be a disadvantage to the opposition, because the media will fear to cover a lot of opposition activities or information or message or campaign material, because they'll be fearing the government might land on them. So I understand why the opposition will say that. So scientific elections there in Uganda, that is just bogus. My personal opinion. My personal opinion. Yes.
He's hearing you.
I'm good.
Yes. And of course, Miriam, this is a country that has been known for some time during political campaigns to switch off the internet. So how do you tell people that you're going to be campaigning over social media when you know too well through the communication department of the government, you can be able to shut internet maybe in those areas that are perceived to cascade towards the opposition. So I think in every perspective, when you look at it, then it's not worthwhile having an election this time. And from where I sit, I think leaders who are in power right now will be the biggest beneficiaries of this kind of a process.
Let's just say
Now,
President Museveni will be the biggest beneficiary. Yes.
I think I had it finished today.
Yes.
Did the Tanzania
Go ahead. Yes.
because of Dr.
Yes.
Onyari.
Yes.
Let me tell you, Miriam, the Tanzanians are very clever. They have done it very cleverly. And you notice that next week, on Wednesday, Tanzania is a middle-income country. Have you seen it somewhere? The World Bank, the Songa, you saw it.
Yes.
The World Bank has classified Tanzania, upgraded it
That's good.
to a middle-income earning country. It means this corruption stance of Magufuli has paid off. Yes. If you go in Tanzania and see the type of roads, to be very honest, and you come back this way, we are catching up. In the rural area, I drove all the way from Loitoktok. What is it called?
It's Loitoktok.
Loitoktok. Through there, Dozi, up to Taveta. My Jesus Christ. The construction of such a road in those meandering, winding valleys. And then when you catch the road from Loitoktok or Taveta to Moshi, Arusha, these are highways. Now, there is something that Magufuli knew in advance, and it is called oversight strategy. Mark the word, oversight strategy, OS. When you hear somebody telling you OS, it means oversight strategy for the future. It is the most dangerous strategy that most politicians use. Magufuli knew the elections are here. In October, in April, February, this thing came to disrupt the elections. And he went down to read the Constitution. What he did was to do a different thing in Africa. And guess what? The World Health Organization even gave him credit. Originally, am I wrong? They praised him. And Miriam, believe me or not, he is as good as gold. It's done. He's going to hold this election across, the southern neighbor. Are people not coughing? You saw them breaking down. I don't know why. I sent pictures to Mr. to Stephen. People breaking signposts. They don't have even a mask.
In Malawi, yes.
In Malawi. So many African countries, like Tanzania, next to Malawi, is going to be encouraged to conduct an election. What is wrong with they never feared COVID. They carried people on cart, this donkey cart.
Yes.
You saw all the women being wheeled out.
I saw those images there. very jubilating.
So these are things that are going to encourage the people. And if Uganda could do, because Uganda now at the moment has not lost any single life. So how are you going to say there is something wrong? Me, I have a suspicion that the president will declare that this election, there is no scientific. Let's go for it.
He already said.
And then, because let me tell you, apparently everybody in Kampala is watching her. Wacha nikwambie. The LOC even check behavior in markets. Uko watu is not like a supermarket. The man has opened only those that are modernized. Ile wengine wenye kwara ya chini aliwacha. So the best supermarket is where everybody, you can go and buy your things there. Ujua unga, ugali, everything, sugar. But these ones that bring that in the city, you anafunga. So he could manage and shock these guys next week or the next announcement. Ataweka hii kitu. Sema tuende elections.
All right.
And that is it. But scientific, where? I have never heard about it.
I think only the campaign will be held, scientific, if we were to look at it from that point. But even President Museveni himself has said the voting will happen manually because he says that the government will be able to enforce the social distancing measures there. So that is why it has been a bit confusing for me at this scientific election there that they're talking about. Now let's just move to Nigeria, where Buhari party seems to be collapsing, and All Progressive Congress, APC, and Nigeria's ruling party was thrown into a leadership crisis after the Court of Appeal upheld the suspension of National Chairman Adams Oshimohole, recently leading to conflicting claims on who should be the acting chairman of the party. Now, Mr. Giadom, a controversial Deputy National Secretary of APC, belongs to a faction led by Amechi, who is opposed to the former governor of Lagos State, Bola Tinubu, having control over the party's structure ahead of the 2023 presidential election. Now, the crisis in APC is playing out in Rivers and Edo states. A crucial governorship election holds in September in Edo, where the state governor Godwin Obaseki defected from the APC to the People's Democratic Party after APC disqualified him from contesting in the party primaries. So I've been reading this news for the last, I think, 2 weeks now. And there appears to be, people don't even care right now what President Buhari is doing. We are seeing succession politics for the 2023 presidential election start there in Nigeria. That is what this is all about, even as Buhari's party finds itself in crisis.
Yes. In fact, I pray for it to be not in crisis, but to collapse. Because being in a crisis, it has lifeline. Nataka yanguke. This is a party that has killed so many people. Buhari has killed many people, many Igbo people. Miriam, did you receive the photos that I received?
I see them.
The photos I received from Biafra make me cry every night. When I wake up, I cry tears. My tears drop. For the younger boys in Nigeria tied on Land Rover, military Land Rovers, driven around the villages. Their crime is because they are Igbo. It's not very good. So Buhari came to finish the job he started. He ended in 1967. We wish you good luck, Mr. Jabril. God help you finish I have no respect. There are people I used to have respect for. But people who kill people of that nature, I'm sorry.
Okay. So Daniel, President Buhari is serving his last term. Nigeria, they have 2 terms, 4 years each. So he's serving his last term, and he was sworn in last year after a very controversial election that happened there in February. And we see now nobody is really caring about the security status right now in Nigeria. Things are dire there right now. And we see his party, that is the All Progressive Congress, being involved in leadership, crisis now because they're raiding themselves to elections that is meant to be happening in 2023. Can you draw parallels between what is happening in Nigeria and what we are seeing here, or what we've been seeing here in the country for the last couple of years?
Yes, I think yes.
Yes.
One of the biggest problem in Africa is greed when we are from those people who are in power. And of course, whatever is happening in Buhari's party is just scrambling for leadership. And of course, because Buhari is serving probably his last term, now they're trying now to rearrange and be able to strategize and take positions to ensure that once Buhari steps out of power, they are the most convenient people to take after him. And that has been a very big problem. Even here in Kenya, you see President Kenyatta is always talking about leaders to concentrate on service delivery and ensure that he leaves a legacy. And he has always warned leaders to refrain from premature campaigns and politicking. And that is something that derails service delivery to the common citizen, and also the people of Nigeria, where we've been having a lot of violence stemming from terrorism and also ethnic atrocities. So it's really unfortunate when leaders, and especially a leading party like Buhari's party, instead of attending to the people's needs and whatever they want at this moment in time, which is development, peace, and security, they're engaging in petty politics and those are succession politics. So it's quite unfortunate, and it really leaves a common citizen with a very big burden.
All right, thank you there. And we just leave that at that. And that is a story that we shall continue following for our viewers out there. So we end with Zimbabwe, where we're going to look at the Eco Cash cancelled. And this is what is happening in Zimbabwe that is already having a lot of financial problems now. Zimbabwe's EcoCash has defied a government order to suspend transactions after President Emerson Mnangagwa's administration accused the mobile money platforms of conspiracy to sabotage the collapsing Zimbabwean dollar. EcoCash, the country's dominant mobile money group, said that only the central bank could order such a suspension, and this is what it said, that we urge all EcoCash users, the majority of whom do not have bank accounts, to remain calm and continue to do your lawful transactions as usual, the company said. Now, the government ordered the suspension of transactions on mobile money, like the government stopping M-Pesa transactions, Daniel, which are the main form of payments in the cash-strapped South African nation on Friday. The Zimbabwean Stock Exchange was also ordered to stop trading in a dramatic raising of the stakes in the currency crisis. Now, millions of Zimbabweans rely on mobile money operators like Kenyans do, and primarily EcoCash for basic payments because it is difficult to obtain physical cash. Now, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe stopped short of barring all mobile money transactions. Mobile money agents would not be allowed to process mobile financial transactions, but merchants could receive payments within certain limits. Now, Mnangagwa's government said that it possessed impeccable intelligence, which constitutes a prima facie a case whereby the phone-based mobile money systems of Zimbabwe are conspiring with the help of the Zimbabwean Stock Exchange, either deliberately or inadvertently, in illicit activities that are sabotaging the Zimbabwean's economy. Now, EcoCash, established by Econet Wireless, the African mobile phone company founded by Strive Masiyiwa, has come under rising regulatory pressure in recent months. It has always denied wrongdoing. The Zimbabwean Stock Exchange did not immediately respond to a request for a comment. I'm not even a financial person here, but I know, Daniel, perhaps you've understood half of what I've said.
Yes, Miriam, change, they say change is inevitable in the long run. And when you read, there's this book called Who Moved My Cheese? And there are these two little human beings who had found some block of cheese and they could enjoy every now and then. And they believed that their future was sorted in that cheese because they possessed it and they felt it could fend for them for years and years to come. But one day they woke up and they found that the cheese was missing. So this tells you that, as a government, this is an era of information technology. We have cashless money. So I think it's not the right move at the moment. I think the government should move with speed if it feels like the mobile money companies are not giving them enough revenues, or maybe they're derailing their currency. Then they have to come up fast enough with laws that will enable these companies to operate, and also enable the government to harness some revenue from it, so that we have some kind of balance. But banning it and making it not to operate, then I think they are missing the bigger picture, because this is something that is happening globally, and mobile money is here with us, and those ones who do not make appropriate changes to accommodate such kind of innovations, then they are likely to miss out when it comes to balance payments and trade with other countries across the continent and the world.
Thank you, Doctor. There Econet Wireless, the owners of Eco Cash, that is owned and founded by Strive Masiyiwa, is being accused of sabotaging basically, the financial situation there in Zimbabwe.
First of all, Miriam, I don't know whether the part you are reading, send it to me. Is it in my notes?
Yes.
Okay. But before that, I want to tell you one thing. Wesonga might say the change is inevitable. What is change? Don't bring that word in my territory. That is my country. I don't want any change inevitable there, Miriam. Why should wait, look, Strive Masiyiwa.
Yeah.
I want to take this opportunity, one, to thank President Mnangagwa. There are things that, Miriam, there are things I do quietly. I've been warning you. You're not in my writings, and
yes.
I've been saying you can't have Eco Cash controlled from Paris. At least Safaricom here is controlled by Safaricom. But Eco Cash is controlled from Nairobi in liquid. The operations of Eco Cash are in liquid. The headquarters is here. So all those offices, they work on liquid, which gives the pipeline of that. Wesonga is an expert on what fiber is. It is a fiber.
Yes.
It's
and
internet services. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All the operations of Zimbabwe are controlled in here on Mombasa Road.
Oh, we are a powerhouse.
Yes. So a man who is rich, very rich, his country is going down. He can't lend the government money. Yet he uses the license from the government. And he is the sole man. Here we have Airtel. You can put your money on Airtel. There is now KCBB. There are so many people changing money on platforms. It's the sole candidate, sole owner. Where does the profit go? How much money is he using of Zimbabwean people? You know, to have 1 billion shillings, 1 billion making a round in a day. You know how that in Kenya make? In a week, it could be about 10 billion shillings in exchange. Safaricom on stock exchange, if that money flowing on account is the richest. You cannot leave the organization security-wise. Want to speak as security expert. You can't leave such an organization of man who hates you. What about if he buys his mercenaries to come and overthrow you? You see where Songa is smiling there. Yes. What about? Think about it. We know the Zimbabweans want this money. They don't have any other means. But what about if Strive Maziwa bought mercenaries? Because the thing is not accountable to the government. Nobody is controlling it. There could be crimes committed, money laundering. Anybody can launder money on Eco Cash. Yes, you go on sending $1,000 until you make 200 million in 5 years. You can transact. So what the government has said, it is going to regionalize and give a competition. There are other Zimbabwean carriers. The Songa knows that language, carrier. Is it carriers? Carrier. A carrier, not career. Carrier. That one, like a Safaricom carrier, Telecom carrier, Tele1 carrier. Let other people get involved. Not one man who is making profit and not paying in assets, not even lending the government money, but looking for power grabbing. Tunakuangalia security wise, tumekuangalia ndani. Hapo you are not going to defeat Matanga. Tuko na wewe. Zungumza na mimi pole pole. Lakini huko tutafunga hiyo kitu. Mimi nasema wazi, we shall close it. And we shall create a new one that can serve other people with nationalism. Go on. Yes, you have the network, but we can divide the license and invite even the Arabs to operate. Where pana peke yako? The guy is not helping the country. Yes, people can suffer. They have suffered enough. But let's straighten all these things. Let's put facts together. You can't have one man who is against the government owning 99.9% of the shares of EcoCash. Are we stupid? Did you give us this revolution? Where ulifanya nini kwa revolution? What did you do in this revolution? Did you help Mnangagwa to escape? You shut up. You don't bring problems here. Some of us who suffered the whole night to make him safe. Nyewe mnataka kuleta shida. Tisha, let him threaten the Zimbabweans, not me. I'm a giant. Where? We got it. Let it be structured. His Excellency Emerson Mnangagwa, don't fear, structure it. And you see, when people talk about Zimbabwe, I'm fed up. What can you tell you in Niwambie? I am fed up of listening to sanction, remove. Remove, who is going to remove for you? Let's bust these sanctions. I want to encourage Lutendo. I want to encourage all Zimbabweans, government officials. Let's start also working on these Americans. You cannot have our diamonds and then you tell us not to sell our diamonds. Rubbish. Stupid. Kwenda. How do you tell people in Africa not to sell their diamonds? Miriam. And the children are dying of malaria, measles, typhoid. They want medicine. And then you tell them not to sell their diamonds. Not that Zimbabwe is. I'm very upset. Not that Zimbabwe is poor. Zimbabwe is not poor. Zimbabweans have their diamonds. Zimbabweans have their gold. America has just stupidly put a sanction on them not to trade in their own gold and diamonds. Zimbabwe would make money, buy essential commodities, put up its economy. Why are you holding the economy of Zimbabwe at ransom? Why? We are not asking, Zimbabwe is not asking America to give it money. No, leave us to trade on equal. You don't have diamonds. You don't even have a ventilator. Rubbish. Hakuna ventilator at America. You are relying on China to give you ventilators. What type of country is this? That is putting sanctions on a small African country. People are dying. You are even mentioning it as an axis of evil. How? Has it got a nuclear weapon? Zimbabwe does not have a nuclear weapon. Zimbabwe has nothing. You can't call it an axis of evil. You put sanctions on them. They can't sell their diamonds. Miriam, if Zimbabwe sold its diamonds from Marange, diamond fields, I swear there will be no poverty. They will buy sugar, they will buy salt, they will buy fuel, they will buy everything. They will give to national corporation agencies to be paying cash. Why don't they allow them to do that? It's high time Ramaphosa called for a conference specifically on Zimbabwe, and it's high time we discuss the ways of busting sanctions. Don't tell me about to remove sanctions. Nyenye washamari, Iowa. If you are going to listen to me, washamari Zimbabweans, stop lamenting about removing sanctions. Let's bust the sanctions. Let's arrange African businessmen to be selling these diamonds. What will America do? What to do? What to do? What to do? What will they do? They are in ventilators. Ventilator huko inauma. Yeah. This is the time for us to reorganize ourselves and help Zimbabwe. Not speeches. What speeches are for what? We are making speeches, AU. Why don't we tell one African country quietly that you go with planes there to carry the diamond and bring? Let's help Zimbabwe. Not, these speeches are too many million. Imagine people there who don't have money now. They have not eaten food. But if there was liquidity in terms of dollars, there will be money. But they can't sell even their diamonds. Surely. We are not asking too much, you Americans. We are asking, remove sanctions on this. Is too much. Now we want to bust the sanctions. Ian Smith busted the sanctions. He survived. The whole world never liked Ian Smith to trade with any country. Didn't he trade? Why are you waiting for America to give you a green light? Pass these diamonds to Botswana to sell. Kwisha. Bring money into Zimbabwe. The government in Zimbabwe must be proactive.
All right, Doctor, thank you so much. Thank you there for that submission. And Daniel Esong, also thank you so much for being part of the show today. I don't know if he's still
Miriam.
there. Yes.
Cameroon. We forgot it. But it's over. We do it tomorrow morning.
Yes.
The summary is there's nothing, not too good. Not too good in Cameroon. We shall dedicate it in the diaspora dispatches tomorrow. I want to take this opportunity as a co-host to thank you. And I can see you have stuck on your ground on the question of Tanzania. And then today, you surprised me. You have stuck on your position on the question of Uganda. It is not me who has said it. I wanted it to come from you because I'm the most hated man. As far as those words, if it was, they would have already quoted now to Museveni. You see, Matanga, but it is good. An independent person has come out with absolutely no sense. You can't hold a scientific election. This is just telling lies. You know, before you break, yesterday I wrote something. We have reached a point where the right does not know the right, and the left does not know the left. We have all fallen victims of the ugly trait of ignorance. A man wants power. Why are you wasting your time as an opposition leader that you can take power from a well-organized army, a well-organized intelligence system, a well-machined, oil. What oils the machinery? Money. Some of the political parties don't have even a fax machine, even an office. So Miriam, tell me, how are you going to fight a party that has been there for 35 years? That's why some of us who tried, we are not defeated, but people wanted peace. We said, let there be peace. The times of King Herod. You remember the last emperor of the Roman Empire. I leave you there. The last emperor of the Roman Empire, called Emperor Nero. Besonga, Miriam. Nero turned on his own mother and killed the mother. The beginning of all troubles of Nero is the spirit of the mother. So, thank you very much. Emperor Nero, an African leader who tries, should always think of where next. And any opposition leader in Africa should also think, don't threaten the leader. Because leaders get scared to relinquish power. Museveni is scared. If you tell him that we shall see you across the bridge, River Nile there, we shall see you, he will not leave. Let's give him conditions of his self-respect. He has a legacy. This is the way I talk. I was a firebrand in 1985. You could not tell me anything rubbish. But now you go back and look at the world, how it moves. Give him a window of exit. But if you threaten him, and then he looks at the photographs of Hosni Mubarak, Bashir, Zuma, being lined up in the court down where leprosy people used to stay. You know, those are places where we, commoners with leprosy, sit to be sentenced 20 years. Waruke.
Zuma's tall. He needs to face the law.
Yes.
Yes.
Now you see, so when you see such things, that's why I am campaigning after COVID-19 that every leader of Africa, while in office and outside office, should be given respect. This law of protecting Uhuru when he is in office, then protecting Museveni when he's in office. But when he leaves office, you go to his door with a summons to arrest him. Apana, that cannot work. Who is arresting Tony Blair? Who? Is this your stupid democracy you have brought here in Africa? Does Africa need democracy? Let's bring it. My takeaway. You had forgotten there's always a takeaway to give you. Thank you very much, viewers. The continent of Africa has faced several conflicts, crises, wars, originating from bad elections. The Malawi election is one example where the opposition beat the incumbent with a margin that is not disputed, what we call an undisputed margin. Today, Malawi ushers in a new era of how we can conduct elections in Africa. If you are aggrieved, you go to court. Don't call masses to come on the streets. But one thing that shook me about the Malawi election is the destruction of property, the destruction of monuments, the destruction of anything associated with the previous ruling regime or government. Those are not good manners. That is not how Africa should usher in a new era of victory. A new era of victory in Africa should look the accommodation of the loser, accepting that losers also have numbers, accepting that losers are Malawians, they are Kenyans, they are Ugandans, they are Tanzanians, they are Zimbabweans, they are Egyptians, they are not foreigners. They are not aliens from planet Earth, Mars. They are people from the same country. There are so many ways of going to the kingdom of God. Several of them. You can enter the kingdom of God as a Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Hindu. You can also enter as a pagan, because we don't know who judges who. Therefore, just as there are many ways of going to God and praying before God, let's have many ways of dissecting our issues as Africans. Let's agree to disagree, but agree to live together. Let's leave violence. Let's create a culture of giving the president, the ruling, the incumbent, a dignified exit. The question of Kenya, where former President Kibaki still lives, the others left. They are enjoying enjoyed the fruits before they passed away. Moi passed away. Kibaki is living, enjoying the status of a former head of state. The essence of this parting shot is let's reconcile, even when we have won. Let's reconcile with the past. Let's forgive. I was not impressed with the speech by Lazarus Chakwera, because it's a speech of witch hunt, a speech of revenge, a speech that will not unify the people of Malawi. Talking about revenge, talking about dynasty, talking about 26 years, the molestation. If we start on that note, viewers, it will be a disaster. Thank you very much. Emulate the example of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga of working together to create a united Africa and a united nations of Africa and your countries. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and our viewers. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow here, either 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. East African time. And thank you so much for your time and for joining us today. Good evening.
Yes.